Hello, this is going to be a short video showing you how to create the line graph that you'll need to make for the lab quiz, lab investigation, exercise, and heart rate. So here I have the lab quiz open over here on the right, and then I have a now blank Google Sheet open on the left. So this here is the data you're going to need to make your line graph. So the first thing you're going to have to do is go to Google Sheets and recreate this data. So your first column is going to be minutes. Now, it doesn't say that over here, but these numbers in the parentheses are the minutes, the time that everything took place in. So then you need the heart rate, beats per minute, and then you need the breathing rate, breaths per minute. And then you're going to need to then fill in your data. Now, when you're filling in the minutes, you only need the numbers. You don't need everything else that's not in the parentheses. So obviously, your data is going to start out looking something like this. And you're going to want to make sure you get all the columns filled in. Now, I am only doing a sample of the data here because to make this video shorter, I'm going to delete all this now, I already have the data table created. So once you have your data table created, I'm going to make the Google Sheets a little bigger here because I don't need the lab paper anymore. I am going to highlight the entire table, go over here to this little thing that says Insert Chart. I also could do it by going Insert Chart here. You can do it either way. It is the exact same control. So I'm going to insert my chart. Because of the way the data is constructed, is going to create a line graph. If it created something else, you can go over here to this chart editor and you can pick another chart type, like any other chart type you see. But it created a line graph and that's what we want, so we're going to leave it there. So now that we have this, one of the things that we are going to want to do, we're going to want to show all of our data points on this graph. So to do that, if I double click anywhere in the graph, I get my chart editor over here. So I'm going to be in Customize. I'm going to close this here. And I'm going to go to Series. This is where it's talking about what your lines are. And then I'm going to go to Point Size. And I'm going to pick 10. It's a pretty good thing. And now you'll see that you have all of your data points. So each of these circles is corresponding to a data point over in your table. The next thing we're going to want to do is we want to change the title. So there's a couple ways to change the title. First, you could just double click in here and you'll see it's highlighted and you can change it there. You also can go over to your chart editor, Customize, Chart Title, and you can type it here if it's a little clearer. I like to do it over here. It just seems to be a little easier for me. So we're going to title this Heart, and let me delete that whole thing, sorry. Heart and breathing rate during exercise over time. So it's kind of a long title, but you always want your titles to be very descriptive of what the graph is. The next thing we want to note on this chart is we want to show where exercise stopped. So if we just look at this chart, you can see the heart and the breathing rate keep going up until the 10-minute mark, and then you see it starts to drop. So from this, we are going to determine that this at 10 minutes is where this person stopped exercising. Now, to add a note to this, we're going to go back to our table and we're going to add another column. We're going to call it Notes. We're not going to add anything in anywhere except we're going to go down to that 10-minute mark, which is right here where we know they stopped exercise, and we're going to type exercised exercise stopped. Okay, and now we have that information there. I'm gonna move my chart back up here so I can see it better. Now I'm going to get this note into the chart. I'm going to double click my chart. I'm going to get my chart editor up. I'm going to go to setup. I'm going to go down to the x-axis here. I'm going to click the little ellipsis and add label. Now you can see it added a label automatically, which is basically just what was down here below, which is the x-axis. That's not what we want. So if we click in here, we can see this little grid. This is going to let us select a data range. We're going to click that. We're going to get this new pop-up. And then we can go over here and just select our data range. And you can see over here, it pre-populated this area. And then hit OK. Now you can see, if I get rid of that, you can see I have this exercise stop label. If you wanted to do this if you wanted to add additional labels, now all you would have to do is type in here. But for our purposes, all we need is the exercise stop label. Now, the last thing you need to do is you need to save this as an image, because then you can put it into another form, into Canvas quizzes. So if I select here, go back to the ellipsis, download, PNG image. And now, depending on your computer, this in my computer, it went right to my downloads. If you don't know where it went, you'll see this little thing popped up at the bottom. You can just click the arrow and then figure out where it is. I'm using a Mac, so it says Show in Finder. If you are using another kind of computer, you might see something different here. And that is the end of this tutorial.